Everything's messed up, so I'm sorry.
It's not tweeting. I'm not seeing the tweet
Hmm.
either.
Yes, this is weird, but it's okay. And wow, actually, the people watching actually matches what it is.
Are we live?
Thank you, YouTube. We are live. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I thought it wasn't working.
Sean Stone got my cake from last week. I was not the one who gave it away. It was, or was I? I don't know. But I know that Kifs did it. Like I gave him the address right after the show. We were talking, and he sent the cake over. Crypto Flamingo, yeah. I gave him the address. He told me he was doing it, so I'll check with him tonight and make sure he did. Yeah, I mean, I thought he did it, like, because he told me, okay, I got it, yeah, and I thought he was sending it right then when we were talking. But then again, it's always like super late when we're talking. So, okay. Well, we were talking about Brown versus the Board of Education over on Lisa's channel.
Yeah, I just have a lot of questions about some strange things about it.
I think that is something we should start doing is looking back at history and looking at other stuff that was going on. Because I think we've learned that whatever is like the big thing right now isn't what's called like I want to look back now, like when the is it a blue dress or is it a white dress? When all that kind of stuff was going on, what else was going on?
Oh, the blue dress.
Yeah.
So if you look at the picture that it was found in Epstein's home, it was painted by Podesta. Epstein, what's his name? Creepy Clinton is sitting in a chair wearing the blue dress like this, and he has red shoes on.
Yeah.
Now, red shoes can mean China because they were selling the U.S. out to China, but it can also mean, you know, what red shoes mean.
No, Dorothy?
Children's skin, like what the popes wear and all that.
That's very weird, but I don't think that Podesta has the depth to.
Yeah, he does all of those other paintings where they're torturing children and.
Think about Wiener. God, what a name.
Yeah.
A Wiener. His name is A. Wiener.
All the jokes.
BEP 20, yeah, that's Crypto Flamingo, yeah, BEP 20. Oh, you put the address in. Yeah, I can't copy that. You got to do it after because it's going to disappear. But yeah, I'll remind him.
Thank you. I was going to school today, so
yes, I told her I like the glass too. I have big glasses and I can't.
We're going to try to wear them for World Blockchain Roundtable. This week's theme is back to school. And so I told Sean I'll wear my big glasses and he can wear his. And
everyone laughs at him and then they're like, oh, they look kind of good.
Yeah, we'll be students together. Or teachers. I don't know which one.
So what do you want to talk about today?
Oh, I have more.
Yeah, hit me. I want to, because I'm drawing a blank right now, but I had a plan.
They, you know, which these came out a long time ago, but there was, now it's in the mainstream media. The Daily Mail is reporting the JP Morgan Chase helping to set up a fund for donors for Epstein for trafficking children. And that I've got a little video for that.
I do think it's cool and interesting that like people aren't letting it go.
The fighter, did you see him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like not regular people because they're not letting it go, but like you know, not the elite famous, but like people like the fighter and other people with him. They're saying, hey, why is Trump indicted before we have the list? Why is this happening before we have the list? Crowder put out the manifesto of the shooter, and everyone is so pissed. They're going after him like crazy. because I mean, you can't argue with that. That this is a crazy person who targeted people because they were white, and everything that goes against the narrative. Um, I heard who was it? I think it was Tucker Carlson, but they said the definition of a slave is someone if you can hurt someone and they can't hurt you back or defend themselves. That's the definition of a slave. And I just thought,
Sean, that goes to what we were just talking about on my channel, where it says the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. It's too clear. Slavery implies that involuntary servitude, a state of bondage, the ownership of mankind as chattel, or at least the control of labor and services of one man for the benefit of another, and the absence of a legal right to the disposal of his own personal property property, and services. Well, that sounds like taxes to me.
yeah, and the
And you
services,
talk
see,
about
that's
that
like
all
this
the time.
big picture, and I always thought of like it was the labor part, and that's how you can. I mean, you can say we're all slaves because of the tax
We
system.
are. Mm-hmm.
That's what people have always made the argument for. But when you boil it down to that, it's just if someone can hurt you in any way, and you can't defend yourself,
That
you're a
you
slave.
can't. Yeah, you're
Whatever that
unable
is, you're a
to.
slave of that system. And I remember saying something. My nephew, he was
Involuntary
he, he
servitude.
was he said something about he was arguing with me about the government and blah blah blah. And I said, so if you go to a guy and he says, I want you to do this thing, and you say, okay, I'll do that thing, but I want you to give me this much money. And he's like, well, I don't know about that, but I'll give you this much money. And you agree that he'll give you this much money for you to do that thing, and that's you have your agreement, like mowing a lawn.
Mm-hmm.
It's you and you two work it out. You mow the lawn, I give you this much money, and then someone comes in when he's going to pay you and takes that money, and they say, I'm going to take this much money here. You can have this. I said, that's taxes. And the person wasn't involved in the negotiation. They didn't they didn't represent you. They didn't represent the guy. They just came in and they took that. I said, and they decided how much you get. I said,
Mm-hmm.
what if, I said, Joey, you don't understand how good we have it here in Texas. There are states that have a state income tax. I said, can you imagine working and then them taking like half your check? He
Mm-hmm.
goes, fuck no, man. I said, no, you wouldn't. I said, what would you do if they took an extra 25% of your check right now? He goes, I wouldn't work. I was like, really? You wouldn't pay bills? You wouldn't do it? He goes, no, I'd complain a lot, and then I would probably pick up extra shift.
So, Sean, back to the Board of Education, Brown versus Board of Education, just like the Roe versus Wade really wasn't about the abortion thing. It was about giving states their rights, or returning the choice back to the states for we, the people, to decide what those decisions would be, or whatever, to make those decisions at a state level. This Brown versus Board of Education overturned Plessy versus Ferguson. And if you want to share that I just shared,
Oh, there you go.
that Plessy versus Ferguson is talking about exactly what we were just talking about. Talking about the definition of slavery, saying that no government has any right to ask a person or know what their ethnicity was. And it gives a definition of slavery. And so, of course, they needed to overturn that, because that's also the time when Martin Luther King was fighting, when JFK was fighting to get rid of the Fed, to put us back to real money. All of that was happening at that time. That's why they wanted to do Brown versus Board of Education then, and make a big show of it, and make it about that, a sweet little girl, when that's not what it was about. It was about them overturning this. And they, instead of it being a Congress making a law about it, the Supreme Court made an unconstitutional decision as Brown versus Board of Education. It wasn't about that little girl going to school.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lie.
Well, I think that the Supreme Court mainly is there to keep Congress in check now. But they don't care. It's like, hey, we can do something for like 3 or 4 months before this other branch of government, tells us, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Or maybe for 2,300, however many days.
Yeah, they used to be able to put it off for longer, I guess.
They can put it off. Well, and I heard today that, you know how everybody's like, oh, government shutdown, government shutdown. We thought it was going to shut down, then it didn't shut down. Now they're like, oh, it's going to shut down November 17th. And then I heard this morning, driving to school, to co-op, they said, oh, but they've already put in a thing that no matter what happens, they have funding until April something. So it's all a lie anyway.
Everything's a lie. It is, but I think it's starting to get, people are seeing, because it's gotten so ridiculous. Literally a WWE icon was elected president. I mean, it's so far over the top, and then they got mad. They're like,
your favorite WWE icon.
We've went so far that we actually elected this guy who's a WWE guy. It's like, yeah, that's what you've been pushing for, man.
All the tweets, all the mean tweets. I have all the mean tweets. Got this at a estate sale. I'm not selling it. I'm keeping it.
Is it a book of mean tweets?
It's a book. All his mean tweets.
That's amazing. Did you sell the Kennedy record?
No, I have 2.
Yeah, no.
I kept one and I played it on my YouTube channel, both sides. And then I did put one for sale on my eBay store.
Yeah, I was thinking about buying it. Yeah. And then I want to put it on.
No, don't do that. I'll give it to you for Christmas.
Okay, yeah, and then I'll
give it to you for Christmas. I would love to.
Actually, yeah, that would be really good.
Merry Christmas, Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, I see a bunch of children around our country. There's children, and then there's it's like daycare. There's like adult daycare for like the people who literally just stand there and drool.
And then there's the crypto world with a bunch of I did this awesome interview with Reggie Middleton for Very Dow Channel, and Bill Wagner from Bearing Assets, and he's one of the guys who helped start, or for one of the first investors of Uphold. And then we had this amazing patent attorney on there that one of the World Blockchain Roundtable guys introduced me to. Jonathan Olson from Aon Law came on, and we were talking about Coinbase going after Reggie's patents through the patent office, through IPR. And I was like, it's just time for crypto to grow up. And then when we were playing during the premiere, Bill Wagner used my quote before I said it in the thing. And I was like, yeah, it's time for crypto to grow up, because they don't do their due diligence. It's a bunch of bromans, like bragging about their bags and being maxis and whatever, instead of being like responsible businessmen and women.
They're bragging about their bags.
Yes.
You always say the funniest things, and you're like, I don't like potty humor, and then you always.
That's not a potty humor.
Thing. Bragging about their sacks.
I didn't say sacks. I said
bags.
Bags.
Yes. Gazoo, I actually used to mow, when I was a little kid, mow yards for silver. Because you used to be able to sell at the bank, or at least our bank here, one bank here in town. Because my mom's like, no, I'm not paying for cable. I don't want cable. We don't want cable. So I had to buy my own cable.
Your mom was hardcore,
and I had to pay for it, which was fine in April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. Not so easy.
You could ask Santa for cable.
So I had to make sure that I had money. So I would have the silver coins just stacked up. And that was like it. I would sell them to pay my cable bill, which it was like $18 a month or something.
That's another thing. People should go watch Jenny Moonstone on her Patreon. It's a free video on her Patreon. If you go to Patreon/Jenny Moonstone, Jenny with a Y, Moonstone, she has a free video of an interview with Cliff High, and he's talking about like collapse of the dollar between now and April. People will be walking away from their government jobs and going and mining silver and gold out of government property. Well, I say government property, it's not their
Public.
property. Public. Thank you, Sean. I love when you correct the terms. Out of the Grand Canyon. Where is it that just there was a volcano erupted and in the US? It's been years and years ago.
Mount St. Helens, New York.
Mount St. Helens, thank you. I could not think of this earlier today. And I guess when it did, it disrupted enough land or whatever, and that people are mining in some rivers by there and finding flakes of gold and even some nuggets of gold there. He's had some reports, or his web bots have found some information. And people are going to be walking away from their government jobs because, like, they literally, like, it doesn't make enough to pay their whatever, and they can make more by, and people doing like mining parties in the spring to like go out to California, and they're going to like mine together, mine silver and gold in the Grand Canyon, and they're just going to tell the government to F off. And so anyway, it's a great video. It's free, and you guys should all go check it out.
Washington. It was Washington or New York. See, I thought it was New York.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know.
same as Crypto Flamingo, but yeah, I remember that because it was like ash was everywhere, and I thought it was weird, as I was little, but
Yeah, I
like to
remember.
see, on the news, like the old towns are covered in ash, it's like people and like the cars had like an inch, and it was like America, so it was like that's something Hawaii or something maybe, but like that's something you see somewhere else.
Right.
Or
Doesn't
not America, it's just weird. But yeah, there's that's a rabbit hole if you want to go like on YouTube and look at like looking for gold. There's so many channels of people that like they just do that on the weekends, or they could have a claim, but this one guy, he bought like all this property, and he's like he mines for gold and precious stones and stuff, and he found so many like illegal mining rigs on the river
in the US?
Yeah, where people had set up these like sleuth boxes where like automatic, but it's like it'd probably been there for like 50 years.
Wow.
So he tears it out, but it's been going for 50 years. So he finds like thousands of dollars worth of gold because it's just been going. And he just cleans it out, all the years of gunk and mud in there. But yeah, that's cool. I always wanted
That'd be a great meetup. That'd be a fun meetup.
Yeah, there's places when I remember growing up where you could go and you like paid $5. I think it was like public land. You paid $5 for like a pan. You rented it for the day. You and your family go out and you like try to get gold. And people did. They got like a couple $100 worth of gold or whatever. It was like fun. And then but that's like a serious. It's like a really good economy. There's also, if you can look on YouTube and see, there's videos of people that like silver and gold, precious metal things. Remember back in the 2000s, there was like all these gold stores. We buy gold, spinning signs.
Public did that. He had a business, one of those.
All those places. He's really, because the one I always watch is in New Jersey, but they have like gold teeth, anything scrap gold, and they just melt it down in their little, in the back of the store, and they make bricks out of it. South Park has a funny episode where it's it's on QVC, and all these like old nanas are buying this like crap jewelry, and then they give it to their grandkids and all, and their grandkids like, oh, it's so ugly, and then they go to the We Buy Gold and sell it, and grandma paid like $200. They go and We Buy Gold and sell it for $20, and then they take out the gems and melt it down and then send it to China who turns it into the cheap stuff and sends it to QVC. So grandma's buying this thing,
And buying it back.
like
Oh
3
my
or 4
gosh.
times. It's all, and it's just going through this cycle.
So what Public would do is he would go, it was back like, I guess, mid 90s or whatever, when all the home parties were big, and so he would go to those home parties, and he said he would tell these women, bring your old jewelry and I'll give you cash. So he'd come in first, and while they're eating and visiting and whatever, he'd meet with each woman and get all their gold and silver and weigh it and whatever, and then give them each cash. So their husbands had no clue how much they were buying or whatever. And so then they would spend all their little cash, their little hidey hole cash on their whatever they wanted to buy at their home party, their leggings or their, I don't know
You know what?
what in the mid 90s.
I
Pampered Chef.
You know how there's like Pampered Chef, yeah. You know how there's like something, George Floyd. George Floyd stuff's happening all the time. It's always on the news, and all of a sudden, this one thing just changed the world. People are marching in Ireland, and
The PSYOP, yeah.
it's a huge, but it like changed everything. Huge.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if like a Tupperware or Pampered Chef or something is going to be the catalyst that brings everybody back together. That starts having people get going to their neighbors' houses and meet up, and that'll be the thing. That just, it has to be cool. Whatever is like fun and cool, that everybody, you have to do this. It's it's so fun, and we all like have a glass of wine and look at
Crypto could do that. The crypto education, if you think about it, because somebody has to know kind of how to do it. And
you just can't use the word education.
Oh,
but I bet. Now, this is also talking about the PSYOPs. Remember how they were everywhere, and then they're just not around that much. And then also with the South Park episode, which South Park, they're like the Simpsons. They call stuff before it happens, and then
I didn't know that.
They definitely comment on things while they're happening, and they don't care what people say. As with the latest, one into the Pandaverse, but Pandaverse. As everything's state owned in China, was that the way they got the bulk of their gold?
No, they got it from Giuliani sending it over after 9/11, and
that's
arranging it.
Think about like it was, back
through the deal with the Vatican and all that.
Think about the 2000s. We're talking about mass amounts of people, public. We actually know someone. I know like 3 people actually that did it, that had gold buying stores. One of them had like 7 stores that I know. How much then all that gold, if that went to China, the amount that, like, this huge store that they have now, like literally they didn't just buy it from the American government, get it from the American government. They got it from us. We literally sold it and sent it over there. Where's all that gold? Where's all that shit that was for like years and years? Everybody was throwing everything they have at those stores.
It was sent over to the Vatican and China through the deep state, through the Clintons and all of that. It was the deals. That's the red shoes. That's the Clintons selling America to China.
Yeah, but that's government gold. That's that stuff. I'm talking about like you went down and got rid of, I got these broken chains that I have, here. That, like, literally, like we handed it over ourselves then. That's I would like to look into that.
Okay. So where did the middleman send his gold, or where did he turn it in?
My friend who owned the stores, actually, he died. He
Interesting.
Last year, which was sad because he was a nice guy.
Very interesting.
I don't know. That's a good question. I think
the banks will try to save themselves.
I think they would if they had to. Like, if there's any kind of conflict with the U.S., dollars going down, gold's going to go up finally. And all right.
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. What else is going on this week?
Oh, I don't really know. Let me look.
A lot of things coming out about Israel and Hamas and how
Hummus.
the Israeli government kind of worked with them to kind of get everyone in line. There was the whole reason they rose to power was because of old Bush. He forced them to have an election because it was when we're exporting democracy. It was some thing that we were doing called export democracy or something with democracy. So like it was part of the peace process that they had to have an election, and these people had like never had an election before.
Oh, what is what's his name? Tucker's walking around Spain or something and trying to bring attention to the elections being overthrown there too. And like there's something going on with that. I didn't catch all that.
But what you were talking about how the Italian Secret Service came out and said, yeah, the U.S. election in 2020 was fake. We're the ones that did it.
Yeah, I showed well, they're not that they're the ones that did it. At the U.S. Embassy in Rome.
I thought that like rogue people in like our FBI has all these people that do terrible things, who assassinated.
It was actually German servers
but
were involved. I don't know.
They did like an internal investigation
of
their own Secret Service because they're like, hey, like they did their job. They're like, hey, this is weird. What's going on here? And they're like, oh,
yes, Italy
this
found
is,
it.
you aided in overthrowing an election. They used our satellites, blah blah blah. So like, no one talked about that. I haven't seen it anywhere. Nothing.
I did a whole video on it and showed the depositions and the trial and the documents and all that.
We're doing a show right now. I got what like 15, 18 people watching.
Yeah.
So
and Trump was on the other day and said that he was confirmed he's the current commander in chief. Like, people don't listen. They say things out loud. Their information's all out there, but this has been like this for years. And people don't, you have to listen, you have to pay attention, you have to want to learn, you have to want to know. Those that want to know, the information's out there. Those that want to stick their head in the sand, and pain's coming for you.
Like we talk about the FBI needs to be shut down or revamped. Everyone's like, why? Literally, dude, they killed Martin Luther King. There's no proof of that. His family won the case that the FBI killed him. They won the case in court. Like, most people don't even know that. It's like everybody knows OJ killed them. It's, he got away with it, but then he was sued by his family for killing him, and he was found guilty in that court.
Right.
Because there's not beyond a shadow of a doubt in like for when you sue somebody.
Civil court.
You just have to
prove
it with it was reasonable that this happened, and it was more than reasonable. In civil court. And Martin Luther King's family sued the FBI in civil court, and they won. That the FBI killed him. So there's certain. It's like Area 51. It's like everyone knows, and then they finally admit it. Which, I mean, they could admit that. Like, once they lost in civil court, they could admit it, but then everybody would be like, "Oh, down with the FBI. Let's destroy the FBI. How could they do that?" So I think we're getting to that point again, like we were back then. Which I wonder what the distraction was then, while Martin Luther King's family was suing the FBI for killing him. I wonder what the huge.
Well, then they killed JFK.
Once again, they could have. But see, there's certain things that, like, the biggest thing that no one talks about with JFK, the biggest thing is with the banks, that his vice president signed an order that he had said absolutely no, because it gave banks control over something, or I forget what it was, but it was this huge banking act, and that was the first thing he did. He did it on the plane when the plane took off. JFK gets shot. They tell him on the plane. He gets sworn in. He signs the paper. Why did he have it ready to sign as him as the president in the air before he knew that it happened? Before it happened, it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense.
Well, I met OJ at my golf course, and I know a good friend of his. I, at the time, of course, thought he was guilty as F. But now I question it. And was the distraction at that time? Yeah. Oh, that was a good distraction. It was my kid's birthday, I remember. It always like comes up after that, because I was over at my in-laws' house where they're having this big birthday party, and everyone's like looking at the TV with the Bronco. But yeah, and it's the same playbook every time, and you can say that with a little disdain, but if it works, it works.
We're the dumb dog when they keep
dumb.
throwing the red ball.
Yeah, you can get mad. You can get mad when they pretend to throw the ball, but if you're the dumb dog, man, you can't.
I know.
You can't argue with that if it works.
And at some point, we have to turn around and, like Westwood said, take your energy out of the system and go play another game somewhere else.
Exactly.
That's
what I think people are starting to do. People are starting to be like, "Hey, look at this spectacle." But yeah, but I'm gonna wear a T-shirt that says "Why isn't the list?" and the Epstein list released. So it's not.
Well, and some of that is coming together and not letting them pitch us against each other. The Squad and Marjorie Taylor Greene coming together to, oh gosh, what did they just come together on? Something.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. What was that? My brain.
Because I remember specifically her. Who's the Ted, who's a senator here?
Cruz.
Cruz comes out and he says something on Twitter.
Oh, to release Assange.
He agreed with her. He's like, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with AOC. We need to do this, blah blah blah. And she literally said, "Fuck off. I don't want you to be part of it. I don't
want you in my clubhouse.
I'm going to change my view if you have the same view."
Never mind. Go.
And I was like, dude, why would you do that? That was like the worst thing I think ever. That was just unbelievable.
Here's the 16, which they wrote Democratic, but Democrat and Republican members of Congress call for President Biden to withdraw U.S. extradition request against WikiLeaks publisher Julian Assange. Free Assange now. And that's where the Squad and Marjorie Taylor Greene and I guess some other people came together to try to free Assange.
Vivek, it was like amazing. Did you see?
Which on the creeps?
Yeah, but on the debate game of the creeps. It was weird, but he was a rock star. He would question the media. He would say, "Why have you done this? Why did you do this?" And then
I played the video.
Like, you answer the question. Yeah. And then they were like,
"Your time is up, sir."
And then he called them.
He said, "You knew it was a lie, and you continued to lie to the American people." Like, why did you do that?
And he's like, "Boom! What are you gonna do?" He's like Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, he did.
He was literally like Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
But
I guess I shouldn't. I'm not against him, but I'm not for him being the president. I think he has a role to play.
I think he'd be an amazing vice president because I think.
Maybe so.
I think he would hold Trump accountable. Like I think if he was instead of Pence, that Hillary would have been behind bars because he would be like, "Hey, why weren't you doing this? Since you're going to do this, like in public?" And that you don't want to piss Trump off in public, but that's what he would do. He would literally make him do that.
which she did. She was picked up in 2016 or 2017. I think she got picked up.
I don't think so. But okay.
Yeah, there's video of it.
When?
Okay.
There's no video of it. There's video when she was like
when she was put in the van.
Yeah, because she was like fainting, and she went to her daughter's apartment in New York
and came out a different height and weight. Yeah.
Did you weigh her?
I saw the picture.
The thing about Cliff High said about taking pictures of them then with a infrared camera. See if
I loved that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, is that going to be But I think that's what's happening. Like everything's being taken over by this handful of people with money, and they don't give a fuck. You know, Elon Musk, Vivek is another one. He's super rich. He's like Ross Perot. He's like Donald Trump. He's, he even said, I put out like $12 million of my own money. I'm going to.
But why not? Patrick Byrne has done the same thing. Patrick Byrne has spent almost all of his, wealth or whatever. But why not? If you know the system's going down, if you know the dollar's dying, spend that shit and fight for freedom.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? And help in the fight however you can. Like, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm gonna tell everybody I can and fight for what I can and try to connect people that I know have skills and resources and ideas that are stronger and better than mine. And I'm gonna fight every way I can with everything that I have.
Yeah, like George Costanza's dad, Seinfeld, when they're like, "Hey, me and your mom, we're not gonna last forever. We gotta get rid of this money." And he's like, "No, that's my inheritance." He's like, "No, we're going on a cruise. Right. Go to Disney World. You could drop $1,000 in a day." Yeah, when you realize it's like the Hummels, man. You hold on to that collection, and if it's because you like it or if it's because it's just a collection and you're being. Mm-hmm. When you get to a certain point, you're like, "Hey, I gotta get rid of it. This is it. This is the top. Where it's just downhill from here." Sell it. Get rid of it.
And the only thing that's really worth it, like the only thing you take with you, we've both lost people that we love in our life. The only thing you take with you is time with people, memories that you had with them, love for, the people that you spend time with. So like that's the stuff you invest in. So. Mm-hmm.
We're going to probably end on this, but, we believe that, absolutely that there's something that happens afterwards. But I think that love is a quantifiable, scientific, real thing. It's like it binds people, it connects people to that other dimension or whatever you want to call it. I wonder if living life, if that's what we're actually doing, is creating those ties, those ropes. Each one that we have with different person is a different string that is forming a rope, so that when we go over, that we still have a connection, and those people still have a connection.
That's beautiful.
We're making it stronger and stronger of a line. The more people that we
would be like raising collective consciousness that way.
Yeah. Until finally humanity has made such a big rope that we're able to go to the next level.
I like it. Let's ascend together. More meetups.
All right. Well, love y'all. It was good hanging out. What am I gonna? Where's that one video?
Alexa, can you tell me a nice joke?
I think Bitcoin will go down to 0.
See y'all later. Love y'all.